Sir.
Yeah, hello everyone. So can you hear me?
Yes, sir. Audio.
Yes, sir. Audible, audible.
Thank you very much for the wonderful introduction. It's actually my pleasure to join such a very good evening this evening. And so may I proceed to my slides or is there anything else, sir? So may I proceed to the slide, sir?
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. So as the explanation provided about me, I work in the Center for Environmental Toxin and Emerging Contaminant Research. And today we are going to see something about the next generation functional materials. Actually, yes, of course, this is more not about hydrogen, but this is more about the materials which can be used for energy, like supercapacitor or batteries, or when it comes to electrochemical sensing, you can make it as a biosensor or chemical sensor. So you may make use of these materials, whichever we prepared and we published. So I hope even I can understand that I heard like many people are from mechanical engineering and different backgrounds, so that maybe this kind of functional materials may be helpful for your own studies. So before that, I would like to, yeah, before that, I would like to introduce about my center where I come from. Actually, it is established in 1999. It was established as a first dioxin lab in Taiwan. The name, that time it was Super Micromass Research and Technology Center. And later in 2018, we got the Ministry of Education subsidy to transform it to Center for Environmental Toxin and Emerging Contaminant Research. Then after a few years in 2023, because of our massive expansion of our center, the phase two of Ministry of Education has given a promotion like to promote the sustainable goals of Taiwan. So we started testing like soil, water, and air. So we started testing all the samples, like I said, and we started promoting the sustainable goals of Taiwan. And here are the certificates, which means that we are certified to do any level like high quality testings of dioxins and many other pollutants. And these are our international achievements and cooperations. For example, here are the international laboratory analytical technique comparison. Like we competed with 24 laboratories worldwide in 2021, and we got the rank one for testing fish and the sediment samples in the third rank in sediment samples. And in 2022, we competed with 39 laboratories worldwide. And when it comes to soil, our rank is second. And in 2023, we competed with 17 laboratories worldwide to test the milk powders, not only the dioxins with other pollutants which may contaminate milk powder. And we, out of 35 items, I mean, there are different types of 35 milk powder items in that. Six we got the rank first, and 25 items got top three rankings. And the recently in 2023, we did an infant food testing among 15 laboratories. Out of 35 items, we got first rank for 9 items, and 25 items we got top 3. And as a highlights of international collaboration, as I said, we are doing many international collaborations in that. Even that includes NASA. We are doing marine sampling for NASA, and we have the distribution all around the world. And this platform, I'm using it to make a very good collaboration between India and Taiwan, because our center is very much eager to carry out their, not just the business, also the academic sides through India. So here are the things we do. We do integrated analysis method for tracing air pollution, and also we are doing the pollution control devices, which means like a sensors, any type of sensors that could be like a mechanistic sensor or a chemical sensor or a biosensor or anything. We are diagnosing the efficiency of the pollution control devices, and also we are making our own devices, and we do health risk assessment because it has a lot, like a lot of departments and a lot of people, like more than 300 are working in one center. And uh, and also we do soil investigation and groundwater pollution testings, and we also work for net zero emissions. And here we have shown something like the cutting edge equipments, like we use a HPLC, GCMS, pyrolysis, tandem mass, like all the top-notch materials, equipments we are using in our center. So in case if your study needs any kind of the world-class equipments, of course you may contact me, and of course I can do that for you. I can understand that because this is about the hydrogen. So of course, whoever works in generating hydrogen or a CO2 capturing or any kind of catalysis you do, of course there is a need of GCMS to check the quality or the purity of the gas or anything you made. So of course, in case if you need any help, of course you can contact me. I have given my details there. So as this presentation, I want to go with three chapters that could be easy to understand, and also you may understand the field I'm working in. As a chapter one, I want to discuss about glucose biosensing because it's a very common thing. Everyone is having a small kit in their hand to check their glucose every day. So how it works, and how that can be um, the materials can be moved to the next generation to make it compact or make it more sensible. So how we can make the glucose biosensing to the next level. And the chapter two will be discussed about how we make the biosensors or any kind of chemical sensors to sense the food preservatives which we eat daily. And the third one is how the particulate matters, which means the tiny particles around the air that injures our respiratory tract, and how we can sense it. Like, these are the things I'm going to discuss today. So, as in chapter one, first, before talking about biosensors, the first thing I want to say is uh, why the biosensors are necessary, actually. From 2024 update of heart disease and stroke statistics, it says that there are 9.7 million adults have undiagnosed diabetes, and which means they are undiagnosed, and 29.3 million adults have diagnosed diabetes, which means they are diagnosed, yeah, and 115.9 million adults have pre-diabetes. Here we need to know what is pre-diabetes. In the image here, you can see the road to type 2 diabetes, which means that in the fasting blood sugar test, if it is 126 milligram per deciliter, then it is diabetes. Of course, that the device which you test, it will shows that you have diabetes. And if it is less than 126, it shows you're normal, which means the normal must be like 99. But there is a huge interval between 99 and 126, but none of the modern biosensors, not all the biosensors, but some may expensive or sophisticated device may sense, but most of the biosensor cannot sense like at 100 milligram per deciliter. So if someone is having a glucose level of 100 mg per deciliter, he will be in the road to type 2 diabetes very soon, which means that we need biosensor which can sense very low detection limit. With very low detection limit like 100 or even less, that we should know. So this is the reason we should develop the biosensor to the next level to sense the pre-diabetes, not just the diabetes. So there is a huge history for glucose biosensors. For example, in 1956, we started sensing the oxygen in our blood, like oxygen to hydrogen peroxide. So with that mechanism, we sensed the glucose in 1956. We call it as first generation biosensor. And the second generation biosensors are actually the immunosensor. We used proteins. We started developing proteins and started coding on it, and enzymatically we started testing. That is called second generation biosensor. And we used optical things. We started using the optical. We used light, and we used like IR or various types of plasmon lights to sense the glucose, and those type of sensors are called third generation glucose biosensors. And the strips, in the modern days we use, are called fourth generation, but it still we use it, still we are in the fourth generation from 1987. So we can understand why the next generation is necessary. Because however, we may see that there is a fifth generation which is a wearable biosensors, but we are not completely accept these fifth generation. Still we are sticking to the fourth generation, which means this is not that much trustable. So that working on biosensor is necessary to make it more trustable. So maybe the Apple Watches or anything we use to sense something, then it is called fifth generation. Still, there are conventional methods before these generations. How we tested the glucose means through chromatography or spectroscopic techniques. Still we use it. Still we use it. However, we make any kind of fourth or fifth generation sensors, we have to compare with these standard techniques. The chromatography or spectroscopic techniques are necessary even to compare the modern biosensors. So whether the modern biosensors are working well or not. So the conventional methods are necessary. But so if the conventional methods are that good, why don't we go with the conventional methods? Of course, this is common. Then why we use the electrochemical methods? Uh, Wait, sorry. Uh, because electrochemical methods, as I showed before, you may see there are many types. There's a carrier gas oven data system. Here you have to pass the IR spectrum, and there are many things. And in mass spectroscopy, there must be a perfect liquid delivery. The molecule of interest must be correct. That must be into the MS. So it's a not complicated, but it's a big technique compared to electrochemical sensing, which is a modern biosensing technique. Here, when we just here you can see that it's just a strip. When a nanomaterial is coated here, and this place is connected with the device like a glucometer, and when the glucose touches the nanomaterial, it reacts, like, which means the redox reaction happens and it turns into gluconic acid. That's it. We can easily quantify the reaction through the electron produces or electron transfer, and we can easily find how much glucose is in our blood. So that's simple. It's not that complicated like the conventional techniques. And actually, scientifically speaking, like the same thing, the nanomaterial where it is coated on the strip, that place is called receptor. So receptor is a place where the glucose, I mean the analyte and the nanomaterial meets. So when the reaction happens, the electron transfer occurs, and that signal will be transferred to the transducer. So that receives the signals, and it converts the chemical signal into electrical signal. That gotten electrical signal will be transferred to the detector, and that detector could be your phone, a watch, your glucometer, or anything. And that detector can send the signals to the wireless. That means like clouds or something where you can store your data. So this is how actually the electrochemical method works. And that's when it comes to mechanism, that is too simple. Like I said, the nanomaterial, maybe we consider it as a transition metal oxide or transition metal that has an oxidation state of 2 plus. And when the redox reaction happens, there is an resonance between 3 plus and 2 plus. So this is keep on resonating, that produces electrooxidation, that produces the signal. That that resonance helps glucose to turn into gluconolactone. So that redox reaction the transference helps us to quantify how much glucose is in our blood. So this is a simple mechanism for glucose sensing. So this is how it works. And here is the reason why we didn't use conventional methods. Of course, this is basic, like, because of course, when the mission is big, the maintenance is big. Of course, it is still not slow, like we have to calibrate, we have to do many things before starting an conventional machines, and it's very expensive. But here the strips are maybe $10, 10 rupees or 20 rupees, so that can be used easily. And also the disposable things are easy. We know we don't need any solvents, nothing. We just can drop cast the blood on the strip and the technique is over. And also we don't need any skills, like we don't have to be a super user to do any kind of electrochemical method. For example, if we want to use GCMS or LC mass, of course we need to be skilled in that technique to do that. But for electrochemical method, anyone can do. So in that case, how we prepare the electrodes, this is a little chemical thing, but it is simple to make any kind of electrode for your studies as well. Here we have prepared nickel tungstate, because of course we know that nickel is a good redox material, and of course tungstate is very stable. And so when we combine it, that could be a very good responsive and stable material. So of course the nickel and tungstate precursors were taken like 0.1 molar, 0.1 molar, and the homogeneous mixture was made by a vigorous stirring, and that was heated in 180 degrees Celsius for 12 hours in hydrothermal method. And that was calcined for 600 degrees Celsius for 4 hours to make it clean and out of impurities. And when it happened, we just sonicated, because we need to make it as a suspension to drop cast onto the SPC. So when it is calcined, which means it is clean, and we drop cast it, and we started to sense. Here, we call it a cyclic voltammeter. That spectrum shows that sensing. Of course, I'll explain it later. This is a kind of graphical abstract of our whole work. Firstly, as I said here, when the nickel tungstate nanoparticles are synthesized, of course, we know that we have to check the structural properties to confirm that we have synthesized the right material and there is nothing like co-interferences or any contaminants. So that, of course, it's must to have a XRD. And when we taken, that's a monoclinic clean structure of nickel tungstate. So we confirmed it. The material what we synthesized is very good. And here, just to show the crystal structure, we have drawn it. And the next is to check the morphological properties. And when we checked it, it looks good, and we haven't find any agglomeration or aggregation in the nanoparticles. And now we move to the glucose sensing property, which means we attached it to the transducer, and the reaction is carried out. Here you can see the green one is the bare SPC, which means a bare strip. And here the synthesized nanomaterials is coated. So when it is, which means you may think it is like maybe here you may. Oh, I didn't mention. It's fine. Okay. You may consider it as like a chamber which has a solution in it, and when you dip the strip inside, and when the glucose is added into the chamber, you will get a peak like this for the bare, which means a empty strip, a bare strip. And when the catalyst is coated, when the catalyst is coated and the electrochemical studies are carried out, you may see a big peak, which means this is the signal we were talking about. When there is a glucose and we have an electrocatalyst, it shows a big peak. So when we calculate this peak, we can find how much glucose is in our blood. So this is a kind of calibration. So B is actually the calibration plot of the gotten result. And this is the next thing, like increasing the glucose concentration. This the basic property of a sensor must be a linearity. So here you can see like when we increase the concentration, the signal keep on increasing, which means our sensor, the strip which we prepared, can sense linearly. And the C and D shows we used the real samples like bovine albumin serum and urine samples, and when we tested, it was good. Okay, this is our current research we are working on currently now. We feel that, just a minute, once again. uh, Sorry. Okay, so this one, I was talking about the credit card type, because we feel that the glucose sensing, even the today we have to carry a big devices called glucometer, and again we need to carry the strip. We have to carry a pouch. But our next research is actually about, we just want we are planning to make credit card type glucose biosensors like this. And of course we all carry a phone, mobile phone, so there is no need for another device to carry like a glucometer to attach and to sense. We think that is too much for us. So currently we are working on credit card type glucose biosensors, which can be carried in the wallet. And as we mentioned here, when a drop of blood is, or urine or anything is drop casted on that strip, and like we do the Apple Pay or something, like we can tap the phone onto the surface of the credit card type biosensor, we get the results. And also through the mobile phone we can transfer the signals to the doctors and also the cloud system. If it is emergency, people can also rush to take care of you. So not just for the glucose biosensor, we are using these techniques to many kind of emergency, like seeking diseases. We are working on it current now, and almost we our research is almost like 80 to 90% it's over. And we plan to, okay, so if it is successful, actually it is successful, this is the one we did in the right side. And so therefore we don't need any pouch to be carried. And it's a kind of a next generation biosensing. Okay, and let's move to chapter 2, and this is about advanced materials for sensing food preservatives. Actually, for the food preservatives, this work is actually published already in Chemical Engineering Journal, which is a very good publishing house. And in that work, we prepared the ternary layered double hydroxide with three-dimensional graphene aerogel, which means like already we know that most of the layered double hydroxide are 3D, and the graphene aerogels are also 3D. So we combine 3D and 3D, which gives enormous active sites for sensing. It's a very good platform for sensing, and we are using propel glycol as an analyte, and we know that that is antioxidant. And because recently antioxidants are good, but it is necessary to be used in many kind of food to avoid oxidized. But in the recent times, many of, for example, in the meat industries, the meat like a lamb or something, if that want to be look red, most of the people are adding too much antioxidants like nitrates and many things onto the layers of the meat to make it more red. When you go to the supermarket and you see, to make it attractive, people are using enormous amount of antioxidants. So that kind of addition to, like, when it exceeds the level, there may be a behavioral abnormalities and mitochondrial dysfunction and endocrine disruption. There are many things like neurotransmitter dysfunctions may happen. So of course there must be a good sensor, antioxidant sensor, for even for people, not people maybe too much, but for the food industries, or they need a very good portable antioxidant sensors. So that is the reason that made us to make this kind of sensors. So as I told, we made NiFeCO LDH, like the layer double hydroxide, and we infused that with aerogel to make it as a electrocatalyst to sense propyl gallate. So here is very basic techniques, and um, we used nickel, iron, and cobalt precursor in 2:1:1 ratio. Mm, and we used the green solvent like a DES.
Sir, anything problem?
Yeah, I'm very sorry for that because it's a very late night in Taiwan. So I'm sorry for that. Okay.
Okay, sir.
Uh, yeah, yeah. So my kid just wanted to find me. I'm
Okay, no
sorry for
problem.
that.
No problem. Okay, okay.
Yeah.
Continue.
So I can understand. Like I know where I lost. Yeah, I was started saying about how we prepared the LDH material, and as I said, we have taken nickel, iron, and cobalt precursor like 2:1:1 ratio, and we have stirred it with the green solvent, we used choline chloride as the green solvent and used autoclave like 120 degrees Celsius for 3 hours, and we prepared the nickel iron cobalt LDH, which is in three-dimensional shape, and that was dried completely. And later we mixed 2 grams of LDH with the aerogel and sonicated. Then again, in ethanol, and we dried it at 50 degrees Celsius to make, as I said, to confirm the interaction between LDH and graphene oxide. We have taken multiple studies to confirm it, and then we have coated that on the surface of SPCE. That is actually like a strip. We can use that strip to directly sense any kind of food adulterants or contaminants. Here, which we used subpropyl gallate, and here you may see, like I said before, when graphene aerogel was prepared, that was tested with that was checked with TEM, and here is the selected area electron diffraction pattern, which confirms the synthesis of graphene aerosols. Then when NaFeCO-LDH was prepared, that was tested, like that was morphologically tested. Here in C, you can see that that was like a layer by layer, like the name itself says that's a layer doubled hydroxide, so that must be formed as a layers. So in C, it was confirmed, and in D, again, the selected area electron diffraction study, we can see the planes of the study, which confirms the synthesized compound is exactly what we were expected. And also to check the contaminants, we performed EDX so that the existing elements in that nanomaterial can be seen. And here we can see oxygen, carbon, iron, cobalt, and nickel, which means there is no any contaminants. And in the composite, we have tested, this is called mapping, and also the distribution of the elements, distribution of the particles, the nickel particles, iron and cobalt, oxygen, carbon. We can see it is throughout the place, which means the synthesis is perfect. And this is actually the morphological study, but when we do the spectral studies, the spectroscopic techniques, we did EXADI. In the diffraction study, we can see that there are 2 peaks in graphene aerogel, and also we confirm the LDH phases, which we confirm it. And when the composite was made, we can see the same graphene aerogel peaks here, which means that when it is combined together, I mean, when it is integrated together, it is integrated really well. It is integrated really well, so that we can see in the composite peak, we can see the both materials peak in one peak. And also we made the XPS spectrum studies, and the deconvoluted peak says the oxidation states of the synthesized material, which confirms that we synthesized in the right phase. And here is the electrochemical studies, which we have seen before for the glucose sensing. Here the same thing, like the light blue one is the material, I mean the electrocatalyst, the best electrocatalyst coated strip, and the bare means the empty strip. So when the empty strip means the bigger peak in the sense impedance, this is EIS, electron impedance spectroscopy. When there is a big peak, which means there is more impedance. When there is less, I mean the small peak, then it is small impedance, which means more electrochemically active, and as well as the transference of electrons is massive. So the same thing we did in B, and here you can see that the transference, like for the bare and for aerogel and NiFeCO-LDH, and the final, the best composite NiFe NaCO-FeLDH and graphene aerogel. When it is combined, you can see the peak-to-peak separation. I mean, the peaks we got appear more good compared to others, and the linearity says comparatively this catalyst is the best as others. And the same thing, this is a common study. um, like we this is like a basic study. We perform it for all the sensor studies. Whenever you see any kind of sensor studies, you can see these type of things. Like 1 is bare and 4 is the best electrocatalyst coated strip. So in 100 micromolar of the analyte is added to the system, and the strips are performed for the electrochemical studies. This is how the results we will get. And of course, comparatively, we can see this after the coating of the catalyst, we get better results. And the BDF are actually BDF are actually for the calibration results for the plots we have given in the top. And E, you can see it's when we change different pH, and because we before performing the electrochemical studies, we have to know that which pH is better, which pH is suitable for us to run the whole experiment. So that we have to run that, and we have to test with 3, 5, 7, 9, 11 different pH. In that, you may see that 7 gave a good peak here. So that means that we have to choose pH 7 for the rest of the studies. And also this one is like we differentiate different types of loading capacities, like loading amount. So we have to confirm which loading, like we cannot, like just like that, we cannot coat a catalyst onto the strip. First we want to go one by one by one by one, so that we can find which amount is perfect. So optimization is necessary for the sensors. So once the optimizations are done, we can start performing the electrochemical studies. So here you may see that this concentration can be tested in. So this strip, actually the point is the strip is capable of sensing 20 micromolar to 100 micromolar of propyl gallate. So we have found out from these studies. And the extreme, what is the maximum we can sense is, like in theoretically it is 0.01 micromolar to 297. And C shows like even we add different kinds of the B, actually BDF, or sorry, BD, or the calibration plots. For A, as I said, the linearity is too high. So from linearity, we may conclude like it can sense to the very lowest level to the highest level. And B, we can also, that B shows, the B diagram shows it's very linear. So this, like I said before, like linearity is the basic property of the sensor. So which obeys the basic property, which means this is a very good sensor to sense propyl gallate. And the D shows that when there is an interference, maybe there can be many co-interferences. For example, when you take, as I said, like the propyl gallate or any type of antioxidant can be in the meat. So when you test the meat sample, like to test the meat sample, what actually we do is like we take a meat and crush it thoroughly, and we extract all the juice from that and we test. So when we do that, of course, from the blood, there may be some other, like ractopamine, for example, that's like a feed additive drug. So there are many kind of drugs, or many things may be there in blood of that meat. So that can be a co-interference for us. So that when we want to make a sensor, of course, we have to sense it with what are the co-interferences. So when we do the lab test, initially we don't do that with a meat. So when it is a lab test, when we do propyl gallate, we also think about what could be the other co-interferences, and we order those chemicals and we test it, so that we can see the interference studies. So among the interfering compounds, we can see that it can specifically since propyl gallate. And we do the repeatable studies, and you can see the test. When we make the test, it is very similar. Okay. Okay. Yeah. So chapter 3. So we finished about bio. Second, I mean, the first is about the biosensing, the glucose, and second one is about the food. The third one is, it's very simple, the particulate matter and respiratory injury. Of course, we know which is what is particulate matters. It is actually the 0.1, 2.5, 10. These are all named after the size. Particulate matter is like any dust particles is gone through with the air and it get inside your nose, which can get inside your nose. That could be called as particulate matters, and depend on their size. That can be differentiated like 0.1, 2.5, or 10. 10 is bigger one. Like 10 is like maybe double the time of our hair. Sorry, our hair maybe double the time bigger than this. So which means it is more lesser than our hair. So PM10, as I said, it is bigger, not this bigger as I shown here, but it is like less than the diameter of the hair. I mean, so so this is a little bigger compared to 0.1. So it deposited on the lower respiratory tract, which means in the top of the lung tract, it deposited usually. And 2.5 is like that can be deposited on the bronchioli or in the alveolar duct. And 0.1 is too tiny, very, very tiny, and it is all considered as emerging contaminants. Mm, Actually, what is emerging contaminant means? It's a contaminant. Why we call it as emerging contaminant means there is no any regulation from the environmental board or any safety things that was not announced by the government. Not still, if something is not still announced by the government or EPB, like environmental pollution board, or anyone, then it will be considered as emerging contaminants. So these are all considered as emerging contaminant, and 0.1 is very fresh, like it is considered as an emerging contaminant. So this is how they settle. 0.10 will be there, or 2.5 can settle there, and 0.1 deposited in the alveoli and that can enter the systemic circulation of our human body. So when it enters, what happens means you can see the normal, and it causes inflammation and the membrane damage. And here is, you can see the PM deposition. This is just like our lung sac, and this is, maybe you can see here, it's 10, 2.5, and 1. And this is infant, toddler, children, and adult, like adolescent, adult, maybe 18, and maybe 13, 18, 21. Here you may see that the black one shows the airway where it can travel, like so that you can see, you can imagine the alveoli and everything. So PM10 is bigger because it won't go in, right? It's just stays in the track. But 2.5, it's very, very bad for the infant and the children. And in one, it looks too dangerous for infants. So that from these studies, from these recent studies, it is found, it is confirmed that PM can damage the children, mostly the infant, compared to the adults. So so the point is, if how can we know if someone is getting a cough, if some infant is getting a sick, if a doctor want to test why he is sick, like what could be the reason for the sickness, so that we need a sensor. For example, if someone is suffering from COVID, we can use a COVID biosensor, or dengue, or anything like malaria, we can use a strip to check it now in the hospital to save our time. But if someone is suffered by these kind of sickness, how could the doctor find the reason for the sickness? So we found the way in our center, like because we found that when the different types of particulate matter enter into the lung sac, that affects the the antigen presenting, the pulmonary antigen presenting cell, and it activates it, and the inflammatory cytokines produces n number of biomarkers. So if something goes in and if some injury happens, that injury will produce some of the biomarkers. So we can sense that biomarkers and find out what could be the reason. For example, even if it is a heart disease, mm, if it is a fat, a lump is there, and it pressurizes the wall and it makes an injury, of course, the biomarker will be produced from that, but that biomarker we call it a troponin or something. So that is different. So we can identify what could be the problem without doing any surgeries or something, without any scanning. With that biomarker, we can find what kind of disease is that. In case if it is a muscle rupture or something, the wall rupture inside the heart or something, then of course we can also find it by like NT-proBNP, like different kinds of biomarkers. So same like that, when these kind of particulate matters enter into the lungs, that produces a biomarker, and with that biomarkers we can find like, oh, so this is the reason for that, and how we can treat him later. So even the recent study says that the PM10, when someone is in like has a maternal exposure, that can cross placenta, reaches the infant, like I mean the in um, the through the placenta, and when it grows to the infant or a children, when it becomes children, the PM exposure may cause asthma when they grow older because of this gene expression. So this one was a recent study. So many of the countries are taking emergency actions for controlling PM10. So these are the biomarkers which can be produced due to various reasons, like as an immune response. So, so coming to the point, like how we can sense is like this is a little technical, so I go with the basics. Like you may know the terminologies in future, so when you read it. So as I said before, EIS, impedance spectroscopy, we the same thing, the same strips we make, but the different techniques we use for the different biomarkers. One could be the EAS sensor, which means electron impedance spectroscopy sensor. EIS, impedance means, yeah, the resistance of the resistance. So through the resistance, if a sensor is made, then it is called EAS sensor. And SPR, surface plasmon resonance, like through the light, um, we pass a light and we get a result, and we know a pattern. If the same pattern we got, then we will confirm. So when we use a plasmon resonance with the same strip thing, and it is called surface SPR sensor, and there's another thing called SERS sensor, like a surface enhanced Raman spectroscopy. Of course, we know that when we do Raman, we get a spectrum. With that spectrum, we can easily find if it is there or not, but the nanomaterial is necessary to make the SERS sensor to detect the different types of proteins exactly. And here is a new thing, like it is called the nanopores, like alpha HL. There are many nanopores, like a nanomaterial they use. You can see in all these types, you can see a pore inside. So we can use this kind of pores as a trap to trap the proteins, and also we can make a protein to develop it like a nanopore, and you can use it like without the use of antigen or many things. We can make a protein to trap the protein. So this is a recent trend in biosensing or nanomaterial synthesis to make biological nanopores. So yeah, in this the chapter 3, initially we know now about the health impact, like how PM 0.1 to 10 will cause respiratory injuries and how it triggers inflammation, like like pathophysiological things, and how the biomarker produce, I mean the immunological effects, and even we know about the prenatal risks and the biomarkers which produces, and also we discussed about the nanopores. So, and also, the basic terms the terminologies of the advanced biosensors recently in the market. Yeah, thank you. Yeah.
Participants, if you have any queries. Dear participants, if you have any queries, please. Sir, Dr. Kogulas, sir.
Yeah, yes, sir. Yeah.
Sir, we will close the session, sir.
Okay, yeah.
I would like to extend our deepest gratitude. We conclude enlightening and visionary session. Our heartfelt thanks to foremost to our esteemed speaker, Dr. Kogulas Saktivel, sir, for enlightening presentation on background in materials, chemistry and electrochemistry and catalysis and biosensor and stock scientific foundations. We are truly grateful for the knowledge you have shared and clarity you have brought vital subject. Thank you once again for valuable time, your expertise, and your inspiring contribution for this session. Once again, thank you, sir.
Yeah, thank you, sir. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Dear participants, next session will start within a few minutes. Stay tuned. Thank you. Sir, good evening, sir.
Good evening.
Sir, HOD
Sir,
sir.
Nandagopal sir, good evening.
Good evening, sir. நல்லா இருக்கீங்களா?
Yeah, fine sir. எப்படி இருக்கீங்க?
நல்லா இருக்கு sir.
Fine. Okay, sir. Okay. Thank you, sir.
Sir, shall we start, sir?
Yes, sir.
Good evening to all the participants. I request Dr. S. Dilipan, Program Coordinator, to deliver welcome address. Thank you, Mr. Mohan Raj. Sir, good evening, sir.
Good evening, sir.
We are delighted to welcome you all the today's session 6 FDP on hydrogen in mobility, fuel cell electrical vehicles and heavy transport. We are privileged to be joined by an expert whose research directly informs this vital field. I extend a warm welcome to our speaker for this session, Dr. K. Nandagopal, sir, Academic Dean, School of Mechanical Engineering at VIT University, Vellore, where he brings a wealth knowledge and research experience in the field of energy systems and sustainable technologies. He completed a 6-month postdoctoral fellowship at Lublin University of Technology, Poland from November 2021 to April 2022. He also served as visiting professor at the same university in June 2022. He holds a PhD in internal combustion engineering from VIT University, with this thesis focusing on experimental investigation on performance evaluation, biological studies of a biodiesel fuel compression ignition engine. His core research areas include decarbonization, hybrid electrical vehicles, sustainable energy development, battery thermal management, geothermal cooling, climate resilience. He has been listed in World Scientist Ranking as per AD Scientific Index 2022, 2023, 2024, and was also listed under top 2% scientists as per Stanford University reports in both 2020 and 2021. Dr. Nandagopal sir brings significant administrative experience, having served as head of the Department of Automotive Engineering from October 2021 to February 2023. He has a remarkable record of publications and projects, including a Scopus citation, H-index of 41 and 4,536 total Scopus citations. Overall, 101 papers published in Scopus Indexed Journal. He has published, co-led numerous funded projects, including to ongoing projects from British Council, UK, focusing on computing driven co-cognitive decarbonization and the development of CDIO model on electrical vehicle powertrain. He also an active reviewer for reputed journals, including Fuel, Energy Conservation, Conversion and Management, Renewable Energy, and Journal of Cleaner Production. With further ado, let us welcome Dr. K. Nandagopal sir. Kindly take over the session. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Thank you very much for your warm welcome and introduction. And with this brief note, I'll share my presentation.
Thank you, sir.
It's visible, sir?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Good evening, everyone. First of all, it's my honor to receive the great opportunity from GRT Institute of Technology to deliver the topic on hydrogen in mobility, fuel cell electric vehicles and heavy transport. I summarize what I observed in the recent times related to the hydrogen production and application in various aspects. For about let us have a discussion for around 1 hour to 15 minutes, then we can have the questionnaire sessions. Everyone is talking about the hydrogen, and all governments, every country, they are focusing about the production of usage of hydrogen in some form. So maybe in future, everyone will have this topic. This is what the statement quoted by some other renowned personalities in the world sometimes back. Sri Jules Varney, he told that I believe that water will be one day employed as a fuel, that hydrogen and oxygen, which constitute is used only together will furnish the inexhaustible source of energy, and in the light of an intensity of which the coal can capable of. Coal is not capable of, right? It means that the water will be the coal of the future. And the same thing can be quoted by our former US president in the year 2003. The new national commitment, our scientists and engineers will overcome the obstacles to taking these cars from laboratory to showroom, so that the first car driven by a child born today could be powered by hydrogen and pollution free on freedom fuel. So it means that somebody thought in sometimes long back, now it is coming into the reality. And just being an IC engineer, just I want to highlight why the hydrogen is more importance than any other source of energy for transport sector. It is because of some important aspect. Hydrogen is having some of the complicated structure. The first one is it need only a very minimum amount of energy for ignition purpose compared to all other fuel. And it has a wider flammability limit. It's just 4 to 70%. Even a small amount of hydrogen concentration in the ambient condition can cause the explosive like that. And another more important thing is the velocity, flame velocity of hydrogen is 4 to 5 times higher than any other fuel in the world. You can talk about take the solid, liquid, or gaseous fuel. Its flame velocity is 4 to 5 times higher than all. Just they are considered as 2.7 meter per second. Whereas for methane or propane, it's only 0.4 meter per second. So just being a energy carrier or any fuel, and these two properties are very attractive. So that's why we thought, okay, hydrogen can be the fuel for future. Just I want to highlight the current present status of the global energy and climate changes challenges. Still, look at the energy consumption, global energy consumption by the fuel type. Renewable energy, as on today, it's around only for 9%, and whereas coal and oil occupy the major role in the world of energy consumption. And so the depletion of fossil fuels, coal, natural gas, and crude oil, and the emission of greenhouse gas emissions into the atmosphere results in global warming. So that's why if, there's a need of searching the alternative fuel without harming the disturbing the pollutant. The ambient condition is very, very important. And so 79 percentage, almost 80 percentage, everything is comes from the CO2. All the whatever the fuel we are using, remaining things are occupied other gases. And this slide shows the CO2, the amount of CO2 produced uh, in the last thousands of years. Before that, look at these conditions. And since 1911 till today, look at the changes. It started from 300 parts per million, and now it's in 1950, after 50 years, reached around 350. Now it's reached almost 420 parts per million in the ambient conditions. It means that so the CO2 concentration in the atmospheric air, as per the NASA report 2025, it's around almost 430 parts per million. That is a alarming situation for everyone. And so climate change is another topic. Everything is comes from the greenhouse gas emission into atmosphere increases global temperature from 0.2 degrees Celsius to 1.36 degrees Celsius. So almost temperature is ambient temperature is increasing. So day by day, so, that is a significant data from 0.2 degrees Celsius to 1.36 degrees Celsius. Yeah. And this slide shows the improvement of the vehicle fuel economy and emissions start from everyone is talking about in the last 20 to 30 years. People are talking about the petroleum products and alternative sources. Then they concentrate on ethanol, biodiesel, compressed natural gas, LPG, all other aspects. Then they switch over to electric vehicle, electricity, and alternative energy sources. But the displacement of the petroleum products taken place in the various stages, and they many research or manufacturers they focused on the electric vehicle and hybrid electric vehicle, including plug-in form of hybrid electric vehicle, where the battery can be charged then and there. And the battery electric vehicle, it is one of the important things today, and extended range of electric vehicles. For the small applications, particular type of battery can be used. And hydrogen electric vehicles, again, hydrogen fuel cell electric vehicle is the topmost priority now, where the hydrogen is the main source. And uh, this is what shows the system cost. When we go for the alternative transportation, the first thing is we need to consider two aspects. One is the duration for which the vehicle is going to use, and another one is the production cost, the system cost. Again, in all this aspect, when we increase the size, cruising range, speed, and electric vehicle occupy more system cost compared to fuel cell vehicle as per the today's scenario. And hydrogen, why hydrogen is so important? Again, some of the important things we need to consider. First one is it is the only source where it can comes from the zero carbon footprint, where water is a combustion product. It has the high carbon free energy, almost around 33.2 kilowatt hour, in terms of equivalents to 30,000 kilocalorie per kilogram energy compared to any other source of energy. A kg of hydrogen, 1 kg of hydrogen has energy equivalent to 7 to 8 kg of coal equivalent without associated carbon of coal and 3 kg of natural gas. We can call it in terms of 42 meter cube of compressed natural gas. The only problem hydrogen for the hydrogen is the storage tank. A large there's a need of a specific design storage tank with a large surface area, and impermeable nature of the hydrogen, that is another important thing. And it can react with impurities also. The hydrogen sulfide can corrode the storage tank and transmission lines. So some drawbacks are there, some operational difficulties are there, but even then, when these difficulties are sorted out, and we can easily go for one day hydrogen will be used everywhere, because it has many advantages compared to other source of energy. This slide shows the where the hydrogen can be used. It can be used in any, not only in the transport sector, it can be used for many applications as a petroleum recovery applications. Methanol production it can be used for electronics and ammonia production, and so for metal production fabrications. So there is plenty of applications of hydrogen usage in the recent times. That's why so these things one day, once upon a day, it was occupied by the other forms of energy. So now people are focusing on the hydrogen as a main source. This data shows the hydrogen production capacity the year 2022 by various production process in Europe. Just I have taken some of the data because where we are, we must know what is our status when we have to compare with some of the uh, advanced technical countries. So here, the capacity in metric tons per year, and almost 10.4 percentage production, different production process by reforming byproduct electrolysis. 10 countries, German, already there is a leading manufacturer, Netherlands by the second place, Poland, Italy, France, Spain, United Kingdom, and it's just, this data is applicable only, we have taken from the Europe. So 10 countries with the largest production of capacity of the hydrogen, and by the year 2022. And demand, hydrogen demand in Europe, again it is sometimes in the recent times, since from 2022 2020 there is a slight decline, and also the based on the production process, various production process, they are saying that hydrogen demand decreased by 9% over 9 metric tons in the from 2022, 8.2 metric tons in the year 2022. So there's a slight reduction, but even then, the hydrogen usage, it's not going to decrease everywhere in the future also. We must know the advantages of hydrogen, why it is important. The first one is about the it's a number one abundance in the universe. It can be produced from any form of resources, highly inflammable. It's having one of the best energy carrier, high energy density, can be produced by, with no carbon footprint. That is what everyone is talking about. If any energy can be produced without any without consumption of any carbon, then that can be considered as the best fuel. That's why a versatile zero emission efficient energy carrier is the only applicable to hydrogen, and it can be stored in any form, like large quantity in a liquid or gaseous state. That is not a problem. And it also has high energy density, produces clean power and heat at the point of usage. And this is what the requirement of the efficiency of hydrogen, and enabled fuel cell compared with the other prime movers used in the world. So gasoline, again, based on the power output, it can be used for the light duty applications, the power where there is a need of less amount of power consumption needed. And diesel, again, it is better than gasoline. Steam and gas turbine, where it can be used for the large power requirement. So fuel cell covers all these three prime movers: diesel and electric, gasoline, steam, and gas turbine. So it can be used for the low power requirement and high power requirement also. So it means that, so the fuel cell covers the entire range of whatever the fuel prime movers has developed so far in this world. The fuel cell will cover, it will overcome all those prime movers in terms of efficiency, in terms of the power production ratio also. So the hydrogen is important as a future mobility and transportation solution, is because the efforts for the decarbonization mobility have progressed regarding the e-mobility, result in increased enthusiasm around the hydrogen powered vehicles. And green hydrogen is a promising to provide sustainable mobility applications, whether by powering the fuel cell electric vehicle and hydrogen enabled combustion engine, or as element for synthetic fuels. Regarding heavy duty transportation, like many trucks and buses and trains, hydrogen vehicle solutions are likely to be shaped for in the near future. So until 2030, the emissions of cars should be reduced by 55% for the trucks. There must be reduction of 50%, so that then only the zero carbon can be achieved in the near future. And for this, based on consideration of this aspect, hydrogen will play a crucial role in achieving the climate goals, especially in public transportation and mobility. And hydrogen technologies, the comparison of fossil fuels and hydrogen combustion on carbon emissions. Using hydrogen produced from the conventional methods can reduce the carbon emissions by almost 20%. Hydrogen can be produced from a number of resources, and when it is used in the fuel cell, it can reduce 20% of the carbon emissions. A significant reduction in carbon emission, we can go up to zero emission level can be achieved by producing the hydrogen using renewable sources of energy. So that's why hydrogen from renewable energy is the topmost priority compared to all other production methods. And just I want to highlight the main hydrogen colors, the production, the sources of the hydrogen production, and where it can come from. So the raw material and the sources of hydrogen raw material is going to decide the nature of the hydrogen format. So when the hydrogen is produced from the biomasses or water, so through some method, we can able to get the green hydrogen. If the hydrogen is produced from this natural gas through steam reformation process or along with the carbon capture storage technique, we can get the blue hydrogen or gray hydrogen also. And from nuclear sources, even for when we use the pyrolysis process for the hydrogen production, we can from natural gas we can also get the turquoise hydrogen. And nuclear from the nuclear resources, when we go for the electrolysis or other the chemical process, we can get the hydrogen in the form of pink color, red, or sorry, the purple. And for the coal, through gasification process, we can get the brown hydrogen or black hydrogen. And other underground method naturally occurs, we can get the white hydrogens. And the colors is the indication, not the shape of the color of the hydrogen gas, where the production process based on the raw material. And this is another additional information about the hydrogen colors with their respective production process. When we go for the gasification process, brown hydrogen is the topmost outcome. And from methane through steam reformation process, gray hydrogen. And methane steam reforming along with the carbon capture and storage technique, you can get blue hydrogen. And from methane, when methane is going to decompose, and turquoise hydrogen can be obtained. And from the renewable electricity through electrolysis process, the green hydrogen is possible. And this slide shows the uh, various production process of the hydrogen. So I classified that hydrogen production in terms of two aspects. One is the biological method, second one is the thermochemical method. And the recent times, the last few years, so much research works going on in this domain about the production process of hydrogen from various resources. And here also a lot of things to be done, because the production cost of the hydrogen is on par with the commercial usage now at the moment. Therefore, a lot of research work need to be taken place in this domain. And so when we consider the thermochemical method, there we have n number of methods. The pyrolysis is one of the topmost method, and hydrothermal process with the help of the heat content, heat input, and the types of the catalyst. And gasification with the gasification agent, gasify agent. And here in all this method, the outcome will be would be around either can get in the form of hydrogen along with the carbon dioxide. Sometimes we can also get the carbon monoxide. And finally, the separation of the carbon dioxide and carbon monoxide, where the result will be we can get the pure hydrogen. The separation process is very, very important. And here, when we go for the production method, the important role is about the raw material, what kind of material is going to use for the production of hydrogen, and the heat requirement, heat input requirement for the production process. And the resultant products, either we can get in terms of liquid, some liquid and gases like gas reaction. Through gas reaction, we can get the water shift reaction, we can get the hydrogen, carbon monoxide, carbon dioxide. And we can also get the biochar. And so after this, all these three process, pyrolysis, hydrothermal process, gasification, and again the reformation, with the catalyst. The catalyst, type of the catalyst and concentration of the catalyst plays a major role, and duration and the reaction duration, all those things plays a major role in the production cost and the production rate also. And that's where the major research is going on, because in the light, in the laboratory scale, we can go for any method, but the large scale application, still a lot of works need to be done. And when we go for the biological method, in the recent times, the biological methods plays a major role. There, the fermentation of any biomasses, and in the absence of the light, or in the presence of the light, hydrogen can be produced. And again, here the catalyst plays a major role, like anaerobic bacteria. Then the reaction time, all those things plays a major role. And photosynthetic bacteria also plays a major role in hydrogen production. The dark fermentation and photosynthesis fermentation also now the photo fermentation also plays a major role in recent times. So the difference between the dark fermentation and the photo fermentation is the presence and absence of the light. And so biophotolysis, again, the water can be splitted with or without sunlight. We can also get the hydrogen. Again, after production of the hydrogen, the separation of the hydrogen from the other gases, that is a major role. Again, it also involves the cost. The separation process, proper separation process need to be considered, then only we can get the pure hydrogen. And some of the other research aspects is about the thermochemical water splitting for hydrogen production using different heterogeneous catalysts. And now the research is going on about the, rather than using one catalytic material for hydrogen production, heterogeneous catalysts can be used, two form of catalysts at different concentration, and uh, which can enhance the production process. It is not only applicable for the hydrogen production, it is also applicable for other alternative resources also. The heterogeneous form, sometimes they are calling it as a hybrid form of catalyst, plays a major role in outcome of the production process. And this is what the chemical reactions, how the reaction, because when we go for the heterogeneous catalyst, the reaction temperature and the reaction time, all those things can be reduced significantly, which will enhance the production of the hydrogen. And so pyrolysis, catalytic reforming for the hydrogen production using different heterogeneous catalysts. Again, when we go for the pyrolysis process, uh, uh, again, the catalytic material, types of catalysts, and hybrid form of catalyst, different combination, different catalysts, and the concentration, all the things will make the significant role in the hydrogen production. And fermentation, dark fermentation, photofermentation, and biophotolysis. Again, the type of algae, cyanobacteria, concentration, and the type of cyanobacteria, all those things. Again, these are the major factors affecting the production process in the form of biohydrogen productions. And dark and photo fermentation process, as I told, informed earlier, and so organic waste can be converted into, undergoes the hydrolysis process, where the breakdown of the organic waste into complex carbohydrates and proteins and fats. Then through acidogenesis process, the volatile fatty acids can be achieved, and along with the alcohol and other simple sugars product. Finally, through dark fermentation, the anaerobic bacteria can be converted into this volatile fatty acids into hydrogen carbon dioxide, along with the other subproduct like acetate and butyrate. And in the biophotolysis process, the water can be converted, splitted into hydrogen and oxygen, the presence of light absorption technique, along with the cyanobacteria, to split into the hydrogen ions, the positive and negative ions. So electrons are transported through the photosystem. And so this is what there is no proper literature in this photolysis process. It's on the research stage. some fewer research works, research is already working on this dark fermentation, photo fermentation in the recent times, but there is no technical literature on the biophotolysis process, the direct involvement, a direct method, also the indirect method. And electrolysis, the water electrolysis is a common method used for long period of time, where the splitting of water into hydrogen through with the help of the current has been used for long period of time. Again, the electrolysis type of electrolysis used for the electrolysis process plays a major role. There we have alkaline electrolysis, solid oxidase electrolysis, and so proton exchange membrane, solid polymer electrolyte. So all these things plays a major role. So the water electrolysis produces around 380,000 kg of hydrogen per year. So still, this is one of the major main method. So the consumption rate of 53.4 kilowatts hour per kg of hydrogen. Again, electricity cost increases around 62% overall cost by on the big scale, so around 1000 kg per day. Again, in small scale, it can go for 10 kg per day operations, capital cost around 62% of total cost power. Even then, the production of the hydrogen through electrolysis process, it is also on par with our our conventional petroleum product usage. When we go for the hydrogen production, the storage is the another important requirement, because hydrogen, the gases from hydrogen or liquid form hydrogen need to be stored in a proper manner. So otherwise, it can make it cannot be used for any purpose. And storage technique, like physical storage or material based chemical storage, can call it as an absorption method. So the hydrogen gas can be absorbed on the outer surface of the any material, any materials. Absorption is the common thing, like a sponge absorbs the water. And physical storage, like in the form of compressed form or liquid form at a very extreme low temperature. And so we are calling it as a cryogenic storage. And here a lot of research works going on the storage methods and the material development. So metal hydride is one of the topmost priority for storing the hydrogen. So elemental hydride, complex metal hydrates, and industrial hydrates. So a lot of materials are there. Research is going on. Again, all this method again comes finally, it comes under the in terms of cost aspect. That is what everyone is looking for. So the storage of hydrogen also plays a major role in terms of production cost. And this is what the comparison about the advantages and challenges about all this method, what we discussed so far. And so each and every method have its own merits and demerits. So direct for biophotolysis process, it is generally it is high efficiency, renewable and sustainable. Whereas challenges, oxygen sensitivity of the hydrogen is and low catalyst availability. When you consider the indirect biophotolysis, the separation of hydrogen and oxygen, O2 production, the use of both hydrogenous and nitrogenous is the major, it is the best one. Whereas efficiency of this method is somewhat low compared to direct biophotolysis process. And fermentation, again, it is utilizes wide range of organic substrate and renewable. Can be used from a variety of resources. And dark fermentation also similar to the photo fermentation, and wide substrate also availability and low cost. And drawbacks, some of the challenges are high energy expenditure, O2 sensitivity, and low substrate conversion efficiency, the presence of hydrogen consumers, and volatile fatty acid effluent, and integrated system. And instead of going for the independent method to have the higher production rate, the reasonable price cost, integrated the combination of photo fermentation, dark fermentation with a fair option, so that that's what they are calling it as a hybrid form of hydrogen method or integrated system of the hydrogen. And so these are all the about the production process of hydrogen. The next one is hydrogen is used as a feedstock for the fuel cell. The fuel cell are generally the electrochemical devices will convert the chemical energy of the fuel into the electrical energy directly. So it is one of the promising power generation with a high efficiency and low environmental impact. So here the material inputs are the hydrogen and the atmospheric air. So it can produce the electrical output. So how the fuel cell systems works, and this is what the slide shows. Here the fuel cell system consists of the anode and cathode. The two elements are there, and so the fuel, mainly the fuel is the hydrogen, can be transported to the anode of the fuel cell, where it can be undergo the anode reactions. So the during the anode reactions, it can split up into the hydrogen proton and the negative electron. The anode negative can be go to the for the current production, and the protons can passes through the electron cannot passes through the in between. There is a electrolyte. Protons electrons cannot pass through this one, so anode reactions can pass through this one and travel through the external circuit, so that electrons can produce the current that can be taken as an output, whereas the protons and electrons react. Finally, it will be react with the cathode, where the oxygen is oxygen is inducted, and this hydrogen and oxygen finally react together. It can produce the water. And so the fuel cell technology depends on many factors. First one is the hydrogen supply, the storage of the hydrogen in the pressurized tank, and so deliver to the anode of the fuel cell stack. That is one of the important aspect. And the hydrogen ionization is another important aspect we need to consider. There it is depends upon the catalyst material. Generally, platinum is used as a catalyst in the anode side. So to convert the split the hydrogen into two hydrogen ions, protons and two electrons, and the ion and electron separation. The electrolyte is the important part of the fuel cell. Commonly, they are using the proton exchange membrane in the form of permits only the positively charged hydrogen ions to move through the cathode. So the types of the electrolyte is also plays a major role. And oxygen reduction and water formation. At the cathode side, oxygen from the ambient air is reduced and merges with the incoming hydrogen ions. Finally, and along with the electron, finally it is going to generate the water. So why everyone is talking about the fuel cell? It is because of the zero carbon production method. So there is no possibility of carbon generation from the inlet to the exit. And so power generation based on the production methodology, fuel cell can be used for any form of applications, from the low power requirement to the heavy power requirement also. And this is what the production process, the proton exchange membrane fuel cell mechanism. Here the important thing is so anode, cathode, and materials. Looking for the new materials for the anode and cathode. It's a different thing, but the types of the fuel cell can depends upon the what form of electrolyte is going to use. When the electrolyte is used in solid oxide, it can be called as solid oxide fuel cell. We also have the molten carbonate fuel cell, alkaline fuel cell, direct methanol fuel cell, then phosphoric acid fuel cell, polymer electrolyte membrane fuel cell, then proton ceramic fuel cell. So all these classifications depends only on the type of what type of electrolyte material is used in the membrane part of the fuel cell. And each and every method has its own merits and demerits. Solid oxide fuel cell, here hydrogen gas is fed into the anode side, ionized in the form of hydrogen positive and negative ion, and then cathode process with the electrons entering the cathode oxygen. And here the solid oxide, the free moving oxygen ions then conduct through the electrolyte and combine with the hydrogen ions, anode forming the water molecules. And solid oxide fuel cells have they use the hard ceramic compound of metal like calcium or zirconium oxides as electrolyte. So its efficiency is around 60%. Operating temperature is about 1000 degrees Celsius, and at high temperature limit applications. So the high temperature limits the application of solid oxide fuel cells unit. They tend to rather large. And second one is about the another form of fuel cell is the molten carbonate fuel cells, where formation of water also occurs at the anode side. And here, so molten carbonate can be is considered as the electrolyte material. And here, so the use of high temperature compounds of salt, carbonate salt like sodium or magnesium carbonates as an electrolyte, and efficiency ranges from 60 to 80%, and the operating temperature is around 650 degrees Celsius. So units up to 2 megawatts have been constructed so far. The design exists till so the molten carbonate fuel cell can generate the power of up to 100 megawatts requirement. And high temperature limits damage the carbon monoxide, poisoning the fuel cell. That is another important limitation. So the nickel electrode catalysts are inexpensive compared to the platinum used in the other cells. Alkaline is one of the most commonly used form of electrolyte. Its reaction is similar to the acid electrolyte, but the reactions are here different. So although water is consumed as a cathode side, twice the amount of twice amount of water is produced on the anode side. And so phosphoric acid is one of the another commonly used electrolyte for the fuel cell applications. And again, the production process all remains same like other methods. And this is what the comparison about the different types of fuel cell. We have polymer electrolyte membrane and molten carbonate fuel cell, direct methanol fuel cell, phosphoric acid, alkaline, and solid oxide. And what type of here in all this method, polymer membrane is used as electrolyte in the polymer electrolyte membrane, PEM fuel cell. Then molten carbonate, MCFC fuel cell, molten carbonate is a electrolyte material. Methanol is used in DMFC fuel cell. Phosphoric salt, alkaline, we have the sodium or potassium hydroxide. And stabilized zirconia is used as electrolyte for the solid oxide fuel cell. And here, the material electrolyte material can be used, and the anode is the different types of anode materials used. In most of the places they are using platinum as the anode material. Some places they are using ceramic material, metal or carbon or nickel, steel also used as anode material. And for production, some of the method we can also have receive the partial amount of methanol, so that methanol is segregated. Some places in alkaline we can also get certain amount of ammonia content also. Efficiency in general, efficiency of the polymer electrolyte membrane fuel cell vary from 30 to 40%. Out of all this method, alkaline and solid oxide fuel cell has the higher efficiency, 60 to 70%. And so when we talk about compare the mobility applications, all the methods are suitable. Portable device, where the direct methanol is used for the building application, they are using phosphoric acid. For power plant, they are using a solid oxides fuel cells. This is what the reactions, the anode reactions, cathode reactions taking place, and the overall reactions in all this method, all the fuel cell method. And the temperature requirement, operating temperature in general, it will vary. Only the polymer electrolyte, they are using room temperature up to 90%, whereas phosphoric acid fuel cell, they are using the operating temperature around 200 degrees Celsius. And molten carbonate operating temperature 650, whereas in solid oxide can go up to 700 to 1000 degrees Celsius. So the key characteristics of this fuel cell system, the working temperature, so one of the things, and the performance range. So now in the recent times, all the method can be used. The performance range can come up to 100 kilowatt easily, and some of them things can go up to 100 megawatts also. Cell efficiency, it also depends upon the input. And this is similar informations. about the various fuel cell. And this is what the typical fuel cell vehicle, where the heavy duty applications, the storage of the hydrogen. In the typical fuel cell vehicle, the hydrogen tanks need to be placed based on the with the required volume, and the storage of the hydrogen gas can be supplied to the fuel cell, and with the power management system, then it can produce the electricity. The electricity can go to the battery for charging process. Then there's a battery back for pack for the additional requirement for the reservoir reservation purpose. And so fuel cell, if you look at the fuel cell and hydrogen electric vehicle market, they are calling it as a compound annual growth rate, how it is going to increase, and in all the countries. So since the fuel cell production, the growth rate is increasing compared to electric vehicle market also in the recent times. So that is what this information is showing clearly about. There is a significant improvement on the fuel cell applications in the transport sectors compared to electric vehicle market. And this is what the combination of battery along with the fuel cell. So that's why it is called the hydrogen fuel cell electric vehicle. So two prime movers will be either fuel cell and the battery, or both the things can be work together depending on the requirement. So the global hydrogen fuel cell vehicle as a percentage of the total vehicles steadily increasing. Total out of the total percentage of the vehicles. So since 2010 to 2030, significant improvement in the hydrogen fuel cell vehicle usage in the world. And so delivering the highest efficiency, that's what everyone is talking about, the why fuel cell is so important among all the fuels used. So fuel cell have the efficiency beyond 50% easily. The scope for the research development, when we go for the product hydrogen applications in terms of fuel cell. So first one is about the electrode materials, catalyst type of the catalyst, and the hydrogen storage materials, cylinders, and membranes development. We can also go for new membranes development. We can also plan for the high performance electrolyte, and so all the things, and the fabrication of stable, durable, and low cost, robust type of hydrogen fuel cell is a very, very important. So there the production of the hydrogen fuel cell at the reasonable price is the topmost priority. That is what we have the biggest challenge. And this is what the comparison between the hydrogen enabled fuel cell along with the electric lithium ion battery, because there is a debate between the battery packed vehicle and the fuel cell vehicle. And just want to compare the cruising range in terms of kilometers and the vehicle size in terms of tons. And start from the two-wheeler. And so when the cruising range is around 200 kilometers, again, we can go for battery electric vehicle domain, no problem. When the cruising range is moves beyond 600 kilometers, there battery vehicle may not be the best option. We need to go for the fuel cell vehicle. And this is storage media, lithium and batteries are topmost priority. A lot of developments are taking place in the batteries applications also. So production of the new materials and the recycling of the battery, it is another topic of research nowadays. And the energy density, it is far for fuel cell vehicle is having better energy density compared to battery. So and refueling time, that is what the main problem. It required only few minutes, whereas we need to spend hours of time for the refueling of the charging of the battery vehicle. Even the heavy bus running between the Bangalore to Chennai, again, so it can come for the one way from Bangalore to Chennai. Then during return, it has to take rest for the charging time. It required around 1 hour 30 minutes. So even for the traveling from almost 300 to 700 kilometers, so we need to spend around 1 hour to 2 hours time for the charging time. So that's why refueling time is a major issue for the battery vehicle. So low temperature and degradation is been demonstrated at minus 30 degree, and performance again in terms of efficiency. A battery electric vehicle is having efficiency, they're calling it as a 90%. And this is a general comparison between the application side of the lithium ion battery along with the fuel cell vehicle. All the companies, all the auto majors are they're working on the fuel cell vehicle and battery vehicles in the recent times. And an example of difference between the fuel cell type and the ideal target output. So here, when the requirement is around 1 watt, 10 watts, 100 watts, 1 kilowatt, up to 100 megawatts, and which kind of what type of fuel cell can be preferable, that's what we need to know. And molten carbonate is the best choice for the range from 100 kilowatt to 100 megawatts application, whereas solid oxide fuel cell can it's the best option for the 1 kilowatt to 100 megawatts for light small power requirement. So proton exchange membrane fuel cell is the best option till 100 watts. And this is what the ideal target output of the fuel cells, various types of the fuel cells. And this slide shows the another comparison. A trip up to 400 kilometers, 62% of European truck activity for the fuel cell electric truck and battery electric truck. And so what will be the comparison? Total cost of ownership over the first 5 years use period based on the France requirement, and 459,000 euros, whereas for battery electric truck it is required only 393,000 euros. And vehicle purchase cost, if you take around there's a slight deviation in the vehicle purchase cost and the annual renewable fuel cost. So cost partly with the diesel without subsidies again. So economics of the scale and maximum range without refueling, recharging. So fuel cell vehicle truck can travel up to 1,200 kilometers, whereas battery electric vehicle can go up to 800 kilometers. And refueling charging time is around 10 to 20 minutes, whereas uh, battery electric vehicle requires overnight around 8 hours charging time. So net payload loss is none for both the category. So this is what the comparison about for the same capacity of the heavy duty fuels vehicle for the battery operated vehicle along with the fuel cell truck. And this is what the 125 kilowatt of BMW X5 iX5 hydrogen based fuel cell vehicle. The requirement again, so these are the arrangements again: fuel cell along with the converter, and so there's a compressor, then control unit is another one, and hydrogen line, then high voltage coolant temperature cooling system. So these are the general components of the hydrogen engine. And again, in the recent times, marine and time application also possibilities there, and where the fuel cell is used as a prime mover. So mitigating fuel price. So that's why substitution of marine diesel fuel found a gaseous state like propane, natural gas, two forms of hydrogen used in maritime application. Hydrogen employed internal combustion engine, hydrogen fuel cell. So total greenhouse gas emissions of the tons of kilometer of hydrogen dual fuel cell decreases by 40%. So people started thinking use the fuel cell for the marine application also. So some of the challenges and potential for zero energy transmissions. So the challenges involves with the hydrogen based fuel cell vehicles are the infrastructure challenges. There is no infrastructure is available that need to be developed, and economic challenges, the viable cost for the common people, and hydrogen production. Even if using the fuel cell is not at all important, the production of the availability of hydrogen for the fuel cell application at reasonable prices, and energy efficiency and safety concerns, and limited vehicle modes and competition with the battery vehicles, because battery, a lot of developments are taking place among the battery uh, uh, materials, all the things. So these are the common challenges where these challenges need to be addressed by the countries, so that the hydrogen fuel cell enabled fuel cell can be will be in the market. And the production of the hydrogen from various sources at reasonable price is the topmost priority. That's only then only everyone is talking about the zero emissions. And the trends in hydrogen transportation. Just I skip this point because it's involved the, and this is what the significance of the cylindrical fuel cell. And we have seen electron membrane fuel cell, whereas the cylindrical form of fuel cell approximate weight is 50 grams. And look at the comparison between the normal form of planet fuel cell and cylindrical cell fuel cell. The weight is here the 1.5 kg, whereas the volume is 10 centimeter cube. Whereas here the cylindrical form of fuel cell weight is only 50 grams. The power delivers can deliver the power of output of 1.6 watts, whereas it can deliver 2 watts. Cost is 15,000. Whereas here the cost is 5,000. Volumetric power density is around 0.67 657 watts per centimeter cube, and here 0.014 centimeter watts per centimeter cube. So here cylindrical form of fuel cell to deliver the high power with respect to weight and volume compared to planar cells, as evident from the power density comparisons. They can be the preferred choice for the one need more power per unit weight and volume, especially for the drones and aviation industry. The cylindrical form of fuel cell is the best choice. And this is what the comparison and the number of models available: fuel cell, battery, fuel cell alone, fuel cell along with the supercapacitor fuel cell, and the fuel cell range extender. Again, fuel cell along with the battery hybrids are the top. More number of models are available in the world among the automotive industry, whereas the fuel cell alone occupy second position, whereas full range extender, it's very smaller one. When we talk about the sustainability of high energy, so how the hydrogen comes from, because from the starting to the end point, the delivery to the consumer and the resultant to the ambient, everything should comes under the zero emissions, zero carbon content. That's why in the electrolysis process, the splitting of water through renewable energy from solar or wind would be the best choice, so that without consuming a zero percentage of even a single percentage of the carbon content, the input hydrogen can be produced. Then the hydrogen can comes taken as a feedstock for the fuel cell for the electricity development. This is what we are calling the sustainable hydrogen energy works. So how the sustainable hydrogen development can take place. And from the fuel cell, finally, it can be placed for automotive sector. So hydrogen fuel cell market, again, these are some of the ideas or the methods are available there. So capture of the power through sunlight, through solar system. Then it can be used as a electricity to power the electric motor. There is one option. Again, fuel cell, storage the hydrogen, capture the power, and it can go for the hydrogen production, storing the hydrogen. From the hydrogen, again, it can be distributed to the transport, then it can go for the charging the hydrogen in the fuel cell. So fuel system, the overview of the pure fuel cell powertrain system topology for the fuel cell electric vehicle, and this is what the arrangements. And here, so again, always there will be battery. So battery control will be there, and hydrogen tank it will be placed along with the detection system. Then conversion, the fuel cell controller, then the fuel cell engine. From there, it can convert. There's a conversion of the DC to DC controller. Then finally, it will go to the motor. Motor can drive the driving wheel. And battery here, battery can be used as a backup for the excess power storage. And challenges in hydrogen mobility need to be solved for the future applications. Compliance with the existing regulations, the regulatory conformity, because there is no proper regulations of the hydrogen which is not available. Then materials all need to be taken care. And some other research work going on the two-wheeler applications. They are called as a hydrogen bike. So small fuel cell can be placed there in the two-wheeler along with the hydrogen tank. This is one of the best option. The three-phase of 250 watts electric brushless motor can be integrated with the PEM fuel cell for the two-wheeler applications. And so some other things we can focus, those are doing research work. So advancements, the catalyst, membrane materials, and flow field designs leading to the higher efficiency, durability, and cost reduction. When we go for the research work, our focus need to be in this aspect about the types of the catalysts and membrane materials along with the flow field design, the various forms, and so that ultimately it has to give the higher efficiency and the long durability along with the cost reduction. These are the viable cost. High cost associated with vehicle production in the hydrogen fuel sector technology, the lack of refueling infrastructure, concerns about the efficiency and environmental footprint of hydrogen production. So that need to be addressed. And advancement in technology, economics of scale, and significant R&D investment need to be really is required to overcome the obstacles in the future. So pathway toward the broad of hydrogen fuel cell adaptation is lined with both technical and infrastructure challenges. So many industries are taking forward to develop the hydrogen refueling infrastructure, and so allocate the resources and establish the partnership to expand the network of the hydrogen refueling station, promote the consumer awareness and education. The important aspect is, even though there is a significant production of the fuel cells available, the consumer should aware of the fuel cell usage. So there is a need of proper education among the public to the fuel cell usage. That is the topmost priority. So implementation of the supportive policies and incentives and subsidies to increase the hydrogen fuel cell adaptation, also to reduce which will reduce the market barriers. So these are some of the things I want to highlight. And so in the concluding remark, a lot of research work is taking around the hydrogen production methodology and storing of the hydrogen, and using the hydrogen in various applications. So here the product, when we concentrate on the production aspect, in the production aspect, which is the best method, you give the hydrogen, the gaseous state or liquid state, at a reasonable price. That is the topmost challenge. We need to focus about the raw material and the operating conditions with the minimum heat input and minimum raw material usage with the minimum catalyst, the reaction time. All those things plays a major role. Then the storage of the hydrogen in the compressed format or liquid format, again with the suitable material at reasonable price, and durability of this storage material, again it is another important thing. And so next one is about the fuel cell development, where the hydrogen can be used with different forms of catalyst, anode materials and cathode materials, and electrolyte, different forms of electrolyte. And so the application range from lower to high-end usage. Around 10 years back, the production of 10 kilowatt of fuel, 10 kilowatt fuel cell is around 10 lakhs. Now it is reduced at very, very low level. So there is a significant improvement on the production of the fuel cell, production of the fuel cell, reasonable price. So long way to go in the near future. Then only the fuel cell will be the prime mover for all the transport sector, start from the two-wheeler to the heavy applications. Not only heavy application, it can also use for the power generation sector. And the another one is when we go for this kind of production method of production of the hydrogen and storage, all those things that we need to consider the optimization techniques about and the like artificial intelligence, machine learning, various optimization techniques can be used for at all form of the research work. Then only the research these kind of research will will give you the fruitful result at reasonable price so that the common people can use the uh, hydrogen in any one form. So with this brief uh, information, I would like to conclude my talk. So I essentially thank uh, so GRT Institute of Technology for giving the great opportunity. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for your excellent presentation. Participants, if you have any queries, please proceed. Sir, some of participants posted in chat box. In
One
Dr.
minute, sir. Chat box only, no. Any questions?
Sir,
Hello,
can I?
sir. Good evening, sir. This is Dr. Suresh from Punjab Engineering College, Chandigarh.
Yeah, please.
Sir, I wanted to know briefly about what is the issue with the hydrogen if we uh, means compress it into the metallic cylinder in the form of gas.
No, hydrogen actually.
Is there issue? I think I come to know that it penetrates to the metal sheet and explodes.
Yeah.
And how to do for that?
No, we need to because hydrogen can easily crack the metals, generally most some other metals. So that's why when we use the hydrogen, so we need to find the suitable materials for storing the hydrogen from the storage tank to the application site. In all the places, a proper material is required. Otherwise, it can easily leakage will be there. Another one is it will crack. So that's why we are the hydrogen empitment is the common issue with the hydrogen applications.
Sir, in chat box.
Okay, sir. Then there is a challenge for the material to develop.
Yes, yes.
Still, is there any country developed already, or the
No,
whole world is fighting
yes,
for this?
yes. They are using it, but generally we cannot use the existing storage tank like materials for the hydrogen usage. That is a common problem. Even the hydrogen tank need to be made of a specific material. Just I'll some of the slides there. Liquid hydrogen storage. Just here. Right.
The material is still not known. Now we need to develop material. Right,
Yes.
sir?
Yes, yes. No, for long-term application, we need to develop the proper material for storing the hydrogen. And look at this one because here, So the two valves need to be provided. There is a vacuum between the two valves, and then only the liquid hydrogen can be stored. This is for liquid hydrogen. Even for compressed form of hydrogen, again, a separate carbon fiber composite material is used to store the hydrogen. Okay. And so type 1, so 5 types of vessels are for the storing compressed hydrogen is made up of steel or aluminum alloys. It's the cheapest one. It can withstand pressure up to 30 bar. Offer extremely low gravimetric energy density. Type 2 is a metallic wall wrapped with a fiber resin composite, around 30 to 40% lighter than. And when you go for the hydrogen tank with the material, the weight is also plays a major, because ultimately hydrogen this tank is going to place for the transport sector where weight is plays a major role. Ultimately, it will also affect the overall efficiency of the supply mover. And type 3, carbon fibers, reinforced plastic lined with the aluminum, stronger, it's lighter and low thermal conductivity. So type 5, again, some developments not available. So these are the material are generally used for the hydrogen storage.
Thank you so much, sir.
Yeah.
Sir,
Yes.
shall I read the questions from the chat box?
Yes, sir.
Dr. T. Somanathan from Vistas. He
Yes, sir.
posted, how can fuel cells be integrated with renewable energy and hydrogen storage system to improve overall system efficiency and reliability?
Okay. So it's a very nice question actually. So if you from the we have seen many production method of the hydrogen, right? So water can be used. That is one. That is what they're calling it as a. But when we talk about the renewable method, from the starting, when we give the power in, because all the production method involves certain amount of heat input. So when we take the heat input from the non carbon usage resources, then it can be considered as 100% of renewable form of hydrogen. That's what they are calling it as a green hydrogen. And the energy input requirement can be taken from the solar power or wind power or any other renewable resources. That is the best option. Another one is for the hydrogen production, when we go for the fermentation, the biological biomasses into various production techniques, that is the best option. Again, how much quantity of the hydrogen can be obtained from the each and every method, the reasonable price, that is the biggest challenge. We can use any method, but how much quantity we can get it, that is a major role. And the hydrogen need to be compressed, then only it can be stored, because in most of the method we are looking for the gaseous form of hydrogen, but this hydrogen can need to be compressed, stored in the hydrogen cylinder at a higher pressure level. So for cryogenic storage, not even think of, because it really need extremely very low temperature requirement. So every place, so just simple comparison is if you want to maintain the room temperature lower than the atmospheric temperature, then we are using air conditioner. The air conditioner just for some normal some room, we are using 1.5, so 110 or 2 tons of AC. But if you go for the natural cooling process, they're calling it as a radiant cooling or evaporative cooling, whatever the method. So there, the natural cooling process, just the tubes can be placed at the wall of the so in the walls where nearby adjacent uh, uh, tank can place through which the pump water can be circulated, and so it will reduce the temperature, room temperature, at least 5 degrees Celsius without a small with the help of small amount of power input. Whereas if you use the air conditioner, they are where so for one kilowatt power we are using a lot of consumption. That is what the things comparison. So we need to consider the operational cost and the investment cost. That makes the difference. if we are not going to consume even any form of carbon from inlet to exit, from the input to the output, then it can be considered as a net zero carbon. Simply, they are calling it as net zero.
Thank you, sir. Sir, another one question.
Yes.
From chat box, Dr. M. Karthikeyan. What are the most effective strategies for developing a cost-efficient and scalable hydrogen refueling infrastructure to support widespread adoption of fuel cell vehicles?
To be frank, just I studied some of the things and all. Charging is a major role when we talk about the effective way of using hydrogen for the transport sector. Am I right? Please read the question once again.
What are the most effective strategies for developing a cost-efficient and scalable hydrogen refueling infrastructure to support widespread adoption of fuel cell vehicles?
So scalable hydrogen again. So there's a debate. So many people are preferring to use the electrolysis process. Then production of hydrogen from various other fermentation or other method, because the large scale application, these are all for the mobility sector. But for the large power requirement, again we need to go for some big scale like pyrolysis and other method. Again, all those things again it involve the certain amount of heat input. That is what the biggest challenge. As on today, many there is no fuel cell production development in our country. Some just scalable at low power requirement. Many people say many companies, even for battery also there is no production. Everything is imported from abroad. So for us, it may take certain period of time, maybe around 3 to 5 years. Then only somebody will find out some new technology to produce the hydrogen for the fuel cell applications.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir. Another one question from.
And for this research purpose, rather than go for the application side, so a lot of analytical method simulation studies can be obtained, and so MATLAB is one of the best option for the research purpose. And so MATLAB advanced versions are available, like Gamma technology. So where what we can do is the type of the vehicle and the battery requirement, all those input can be obtained. So the simulations is the study is the best part. When we have the simulation result in a best manner, that can be used for the experimental work. Again, there is no such facilities available in our country. Only it is available in the R&D sector, and slowly then and there, even VIT, a few professors are working on fuel cell application, and few development is taking place in the fuel cell like 1 kilowatt, 2 kilowatt, 5 kilowatt development is taking place. Usage, the testing. Again, for these cases, for this fuel cell, again hydrogen tank is obtained from others outsources. They are using it. A complete production of the hydrogen along with the fuel cell development, then application in the vehicle, not only vehicle, for the particular application. This is the biggest challenge. So connecting production of the hydrogen, the fuel cell, then particular application. These three, no, there's no such development. It may be available in centrally funded institution in our country.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir. One more question from Malini Papat. How hydrogen is stored in metal hybrids?
It is like some of the like a sponge will absorb the water. When we have the water, it just immerse the sponge. So the sponge will absorb the water. The same concept, some of the metal hydride will absorb the hydrogen gas. But the hydride, to extract the hydrogen from the metal hydride, certain small amount of heat input is required. Among all the method, metal hydride is the safest storage method.
Okay, sir. Okay,
The
okay,
problem
thank
is
you.
the hydrogen need only very less amount of energy for its ignition purpose. That's why wherever hydrogen is used, and there will be a proper precautionary measurements like flame arrestor or the disconnection. There is no direct connection between the fuel tank to the engine. For an example, there must be a flame arrestor between the hydrogen tank and the engine because it will move very fast. The important thing is the flame velocity of hydrogen is extremely very high compared to all other fuel.
Okay, sir. Thank you for clearing queries.
I visited the Ashok Leyland R&D Center Hosur, and for an example, they are testing around 16 for various forms of hydrogen engine, like for the light duty application from 3 cylinder to 6 cylinder, and the hydrogen tanks are placed away from the particular testing building where the hydrogen engine is installed, right? And the hydrogen tank is directly placed in the truck. The truck is kept stationary with complete locking system, and no one is permitted to enter nearby this building where the hydrogen tank is placed, right? Even the mobile phones are not permitted inside the hydrogen tank availability. This is what I observe. So look at the precautionary measurements.
Okay, sir. Thank you for your wonderful session. Now we formally close this session. Now I request Mr. Mohan Raj, Assistant Professor, Department of Mechanical Engineering, and also co-coordinator of ATAL, to deliver vote of thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. First and foremost, we extend our sincere gratitude to our esteemed speaker, Dr. K. Nandagopal, Professor, VIT University, Vellore. Sir, your presentation provided us a truly comprehensive and deep dive into the subject. That is paramount to future sustainable transportation. Your insights beautifully illuminated how fuel cell electric vehicles provide a viable zero-emission alternative, especially for crucial and hard to decarbonize segment of heavy duty transport. We particularly appreciate your detailed explanation of working principle of a hydrogen fuel cell and technology maturity of fuel cell electric vehicles. The discussion on energy density advantage of hydrogen for long haul tracking and challenging in building of robust refilling infrastructure was incredibly insightful. Dr. Nandagopal sir, for taking the time out of your busy schedule to share this insight and expert speech, making the session as a grateful session success. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you very much, everyone. And just now, I just aware about the hydrogen and what form it has been used. And I went truly speaking, I am not started the research work based on my observation. Just I made a presentation, and just I hope this information I share this presentation to Diliban sir. You can also share the PPT if anyone is looking for.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Once again, thank you very much, sir.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much.
Sir, thank you, sir. Wonderful presentation.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir. You have
Thank
given
you.
our experience also.
Thank
Practical
you, thank you,
experience.
sir.
Thank you, sir.
I have not started the research now. Just now I started, but based on my observation, just made it. I think some information I want to give it.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir. With that, we conclude today's session. Participants, please make tomorrow's 6 p.m. To attend the session. Thank you, one and all.
Thank you, sir.
Sir,
Okay, thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
hello, sir. Coordinator, sir.
Sir,